the knives were with them.
No,
So when you're going to fight,
I remember.
it was knives.
We were reading that the Gaylords of Hoboken were the big Italian gang that would fight. What's happening, everybody? Michael Andreula here. Welcome to another exciting episode of Michael Andreula Live with a very special guest, Andreula. The Father's Day Bonanza. We're going to talk about comedy, maybe other topics. We'll weave it in. Dean Martin, perhaps W.C. Fields. At this point, don't lock up, Daddy. Be loose, be relaxed. You got great stories. You're always happy. So that's what we want to do.
Just push the button on my back and I'll talk.
Okay. So what I wanted to, we were talking before about W.C. Fields' early comedies. When I was little, I was watching W.C. Fields, the Marx Brothers, who else? The two guys at the garage. Right, who are those guys?
Sanford and Son.
Well, they came a little bit later.
Yeah, Sanford and Son came later.
Because I'm born 19.
Oh, you had Laurel and Hardy.
So I got to see a lot of the early comedies, a lot, and I think that influenced me a great deal. How did and why were we watching such
When we were young, that
comedies?
used to be the thing to wait up for them to come on, because it's not like today. You had 5 channels back, in the 50s, the late 50s, early 60s.
But I used to watch them on tape.
Then the tapes came out, right? And I had some tapes that I bought, and that's you can watch it anytime you want.
So
it's a great invention.
So other people were watching like things in the 80s, and I was watching things from 1936.
Well, people
which were funny. You don't now
back in time.
Yeah, you understand comedy better because you see how things evolved from W.C. Fields. Maybe is he the first comedian ever? No.
No, you had Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin.
Was a big one. And Fields stood up with him.
Is your phone ringing, Danny? What's going on? It's a professional podcast. Who's that?
Can I take this phone for one second?
No, pick it up. Tell him he's not live, though.
Hey, Kenny.
You gotta tell him it's live.
I'm on TV. So, what's the word?
No, it's taken.
It's taken. All right. Let me reorganize the guys.
Let me see what dates he's got open. I'll call you back.
Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
Kenny. Bye.
That was great. That
That's
conversation.
for our fishing. It's taken next Wednesday. Is taken. So.
All right.
That's Pioneer Fishing Boat out of Jersey City.
Yeah.
So.
You love to fish, Daddy.
Oh yeah, the fishing is.
How come I can't fish? How I could fish? You taught me how to fish.
I took them. I think the mistake was I took all of my 4 sons, and it was out of.
Sandy Hook, right? No.
It was out of
Point
the Highlands, and the captain said he was a charter, and he said, "I'm not going to go far. I'll stay by land." And the next thing I know, he was heading out to the Mud Channel, which is like 20 miles offshore. Here I am with 4 sons that are all sick. So it was.
But why do you not? Did you never got sick once ever when you were little?
No.
When's the first time you went fishing?
Oh, a long time.
Where?
I first started with the Hudson River. Then.
Back in the day, it was okay to eat more of the fish from the Hudson, or no?
Well, I didn't eat anything out of Hudson.
No.
My father had it. There was plenty of eels. That's a big delicacy in Europe.
We used to where do we used to catch the eels?
Interstate Park. But
Interstate Park. No, that's. I was saying, where is that? Is that in the Palisades?
That's near Fort Lee, up near Fort Lee.
That's a good park.
Oh, it's it was a big park at the time. Now
Cosmo's
it's like
grandfather
everything
used
else,
to take the eels.
Everybody moved out of the city of Hoboken. They went to the suburbs, and the ones that were not doing too well picked up on these parks. So you got the newest one is Liberty State.
Yeah.
So if you go there, that's mostly minorities, and minorities picked up on Interstate Park too, which is a beautiful park. But you got 3 levels, and if you go to the 3rd, which is Alpine, that's basically the upper class.
I didn't even never heard. I mean, I
the
tried to
Alpine,
find it. I couldn't.
You can rent out I'm going back, but you can rent out the whole thing, and all was like for $100. And
What the park has 3 levels?
yeah, you got your first by the George Washington Bridge.
Yeah.
Then you got the second is as you go along the road. That's another one. That's where boats are. And then the third is where the big boats are.
Oh, you got another call coming in. Let's see how you deal with this one.
All right, that one let it go.
No, you sure? And make it quick. Just say.
No, that's okay.
Okay. Anyway, that's interesting. I'm not sure if that's. I just remember going to a park nearby.
It was a nice park. You can barbecue. You can do a lot of things there. But people don't know about it. All they do is get in the car and head south.
Yeah.
But if they venture on this side of the river, and you like walking, plenty exercise.
All right, let's get back to fishing, because that brings you back to early Hoboken. You were born in Hoboken, no?
Right.
So where did you guys live? On 8th Street, right?
I was born in St. Mary's Hospital,
St. Mary's.
which is now
The University of
about a
Hoboken.
university, and grew up. The blocks were all kids, which is good. I see a lot of kids back in town. Believe me, there was no kids left. And
Just me.
and
There was
go
me.
back, go late in end in the 80s, there was hardly any kids.
Yeah.
It was a party town. And now those people stood and they're having kids. There's a lot of kids in this town. A lot of kids. So the lucky thing they didn't convert the schools, which they did convert a couple of schools and made apartments out of them. They went on with that program. They would have nowhere to house these kids today as they grow up.
Yeah, they were selling schools off. The schools are beautiful too. I don't know who made them, but you walk in, it's marble. They used Hoboken must have been beautiful back in the day when they first put the slate. All the sidewalks were slate. We had cobblestone streets. The schools had marble and brass. Basically, the entire school is marble and brass. We're using granite like it's free. But at some point, pavement came in, and then the factories started closing.
Blacktop took over. The only thing you have left is Court Street, and I believe there's a reason for that.
It's nice. I like
They
it.
don't want people going about 90 miles an hour.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need speed bumps if you have cobble. And people assume that cobble is going to be messy and not. You can make cobble really nice, and you go to Italy, you see it's flush, it's perfect. There's cobblestone under the black tarp right now, and the Washington Street looks like a disaster area. There's more potholes than that thing. It's crazy. But back in old Hoboken, was it really
Looks
nice?
like something out of Afghanistan.
Yeah, it really does. Bombed out and depleted. Washington Street. This town, we should
Paved
have
with gold.
a golden park. We shouldn't, my opinion is, we make it, in Italy, the cities that have no cars are the most beautiful cities. So imagine a Washington Street where you have cafes coming out, you have little kiosk people, like arts and music festival, paved streets, clean, good commerce.
Well, going into the pet area might offend some people, but years ago, when I was growing up, the parks, there was no dogs allowed. Now that made a lot of sense because the dog wouldn't urine in there or defecate, or
yeah.
so the dogs did not get in those parks. But now, over time, you have a lot of children now, and you have the animals in there, so it's on I believe, on a collision course.
Yeah, you think
Because the
animals
parents are going to have to
get
say, wait a minute, a human being overtakes an animal.
Well, we can barely have animals though in
But
Hoboken.
everybody walked their dog, and it was curb your dog. So you pulled them over to the curb, and when the sweeper came around with a broom and a shovel, he'd pick it up and put it in a barrel.
Oh, I didn't know
What
that.
they're doing today is, or they had the hose come down and slide it into the sewer. But today what you're doing is plastic upon plastic upon plastic. So the younger generation are going to turn around and say, wait a minute, one day this plastic ain't going nowhere, Now it's got something special inside of it. You know,
I
that
think
we're gonna
about
have to
I break it down. I compost it.
Well, you do, but they have to look. The city or somebody has to maybe do that, where they have a box or something on the street, because it's getting. You're going to need a sewerage plant just for animals,
Yeah. Well,
and this is getting really.
you don't like
know,
the dogs, Daddy? I thought you would like all the dogs.
I like dogs, but my dogs they ran. There was no leash in those days.
Yeah, they had the
But
dogs.
they still didn't go in the park because you had a dog catcher. And the dog catcher.
Could you imagine this neighborhood?
Would take your dog. No, they
You
would take
got
your
a
dog.
dog catcher. Everybody's looking out the windows on our block. Everybody would be sitting in beach chairs every day. You couldn't get away with stealing something or not curbing your dog. There's eyeballs on you 24/7, which was better for playing.
Well, the end of the dog catcher came when it was a politician. I know their names, but I'm not going to say no names. But
They'll still
he
come
got
and
the
get you.
dog.
100 years
He
later.
caught the dog, and he caught a cat. And over the weekend, the dog ate the cat. So when he came, the politician was raving about her cat, and he said, "What do you want me to do?" He says, "I got one cage for everything."
That's hilarious.
So that was the end of the dog
Dog catcher.
catcher in the city hall.
What about the guy that used to have the cart that rang the bell that would sharpen everything for you? Remember that guy? What? Ding, ding, ding. You bring out, because how are you sharpening your knives? How are you sharpening scissors?
Oh, that's
it was
going
like
back there, saws and all.
this
that.
is like the
Saw
medieval
blade.
ages type stuff. But I remember
He would
him.
do, you had different things. You had the old horse with a carriage with the guy asking for old rags. He yelled out old rags.
Yeah.
And you had the,
Bring out your dead like the Monty Pythons.
the bars had the Iceman who would bring the ice in, and it'd be a hot day and all the
Dylan's
kids.
family used to own an ice house in Indiana.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
the ice out of the
Store
river
the
and
ice.
store it in a
Yeah.
warehouse in sawdust.
I'm going back when they had to deliver it.
Yeah.
Right.
And they'd chop it up, and the kids would be waiting around for him to go into the bar so they can grab a piece of the ice that was chopped up and grab it, it was
Where
a
were
hot
you
day
getting
and
that
they
ice,
did
I think?
graze. But that
Hudson
was the
River.
big, they followed the ice truck, and the guy would,
All right. This is a controversial question that people don't believe it. Did you and did other kids swim to New York City?
we had we swam in the ocean, in the river,
Did you swim
and we
to
swam
New York?
by Maxwell House. It was called BAB,
BAB.
Bare Ass Beach. And you dived off the railroad cars in, and there was this big, huge rope.
Oh, this
It was
is
a big,
fantastic.
huge rope. Matter of fact, it was out there. That was your last lifeline. If you didn't grab onto that, you were going with the tide. But you did have one person, I know his name, I'm not going to say the name, but every St. Patty's Day he would jump in the river and swim across to New York.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is true.
Yeah.
You don't understand. That's one thing. My father is a ridiculous swimmer. He's like a fish, and he'll tie things on his neck like he's taking equipment, and then swim for hours. Even I see him
Yeah,
fall
well, those
asleep in
days
the
are
ocean.
over.
Well, back in the day, like he would, like, what's he doing? He's sleeping in the ocean, like this. But our family background, especially ancestors back to Italy, these are people that are
Oh yeah, the
living
water.
living in the water all day long.
Well, one uncle was deported back 3 times. Came in illegally 3 times. They sent him back 3 times.
So stay
fourth
everybody
time-
from
the
Mexico
fourth
keep
time
on
when he
pushing.
came-
Keep pushing.
4th time he came back, he didn't speak English that good, and he joined the Navy. So they wouldn't send him back.
Nice.
So they told him to swim the pool. He didn't know what they meant. He dove in, he did the pool underwater back and forth.
Yeah, I believe it.
So,
The
he
families.
ended up a mess.
ranking.
Yeah, he had a ranking. But then he got a citizenship, which is a good idea. Which today they should
Yeah.
give him a citizenship
You're gonna
instead of
fight
just
him.
letting him come in. But what are you gonna do? That's new era.
Well, they can't close it off. Look, the Italians, they try to close them
Well,
off.
basically, you're not getting your your good crop anymore. Okay, I'm not taking nothing against the Monari, but South American oil is not your best crop.
Half my audience is crop. It depends. There's always, you can't.
I mean,
I wouldn't
you
go that
know,
route.
you talk.
No, they're working way hard. We got a lot.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying your mind wise, the thinking
Well,
wise.
no, I think
You had the Dutch, you had the Germans, Italians, the Irish. You had very good minds.
Don't you think you just got to beat them up enough? Just like even
to.
the Italians were getting beat up, like the Irish,
Well, no,
English
no,
were beating
you
up
got
the
a
Irish, and then it just.
You're right.
You need to assimilate, I think, and like you see a lot of cultures, they're just really good.
Puerto Ricans came in and they were like, but they turned out to be a very good nationality. But when they first came over, so you don't know about it, the knives were with them.
No,
So when you got to fight,
I remember
there was knives.
we were reading that the Gaylords of Hoboken were the big Italian gang that would fight. This is in the '60s against what was it called? The Alkies?
Yeah.
Which is a Puerto Rican gang. You ever hear of that?
Well, they had the showdown on First Street.
The show?
Showdown. Puerto Ricans were coming up First Street, and the dock workers were coming from the docks with the hooks. So they were going to meet right by City Hall.
Well, what do they do? They're like, listen.
No, it was going to be a main riot.
I understand, but what do they say? Like, listen, we're the Puerto Ricans. We're just going to riot on
No,
Thursday.
it was,
we're the ship workers.
It was something that went on. They were trying to take the top, and the dock workers said, "No, you're not taking the top."
The
So
top, like
to come over. In other words,
to
when you
work
get
there?
nationalities, one or somebody tries to be a dominant force and take over.
yeah,
It's like you with your brothers.
yeah.
You know, Joey would hit Vinny in the stomach. Vinny would hit Timmy in the stomach. Then
Then I would get
Timmy
hit by
would
all
hit
three
Mikey
of
in the
them.
stomach. Then Mikey would have nobody to punch, so he went bananas and he went off after all of them.
That's what I'd do. I have to.
But
be.
I'm saying that was somebody had a film of that where it actually was very
What,
close.
me fighting
that
my
would have been
brothers.
a
or-
real big riot.
This has been going on though for people out there. The Germans and I think it was the English had a massive riot. This is back in the 18th century in Hoboken, where I think it was the German and the English. There's stories about it, or it could have been the Polish. They came over. This is when the town had 70,000 people, stacked on top of each other, big congregations of people, and they came over and had a massive, like the military had a gangs of New York style fight in Hoboken. So this has been going on. It basically ended when I was. By the time I went to school, it was some of the most multinational school. We had every nationality you could think of in school.
Well, it blended. You know, it's the world is getting smaller and smaller with all this electronic stuff. So it's not like when we made carpet guns with a rubber band and a bottle top and a clothespin, and somebody was throwing the carpet out. That was ammunition. We rip it and we had some stuff would knock your eye right out. But there wasn't no lawyers and nothing. Everybody had a neighborhood doctor. If we got hurt, we went to see the doc.
Yeah.
You know?
How good was it? Was it better? Was it more fun?
Well, yeah, because
You're running and gunning. It's more.
wasn't we had
jumping
we
off the
had
pier.
me and my brother, we had the 20-inch bike with no brakes. Okay, so
What do you mean,
and
20-inch bike?
somebody had a three-wheeler. So it was like a demolition derby. By branch school, you would go from where the school begins to the end of the block, turn around and come back. That would be the race. Okay, and a good friend of mine, is still till today I see him. His father bought him a brand new English racer now. That was like the Rolls Royce of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we'd come over, he said, come on, get in the race. I said, buddy, come on, get in the race. And he said, okay, and he got out. Now he just got the bike.
Yeah.
Beautiful, the spokes. I mean, if you've seen this beautiful headlight and he headed out, we headed out, and he took right off. He was way ahead of us. But the only problem he ran into is at the corner to make the turn. He couldn't make the turn
Yeah,
that good, and we coming down, and with no brakes and all, we smashed into him. And the spokes on the wheels are all broke, the handlebars are crooked, the lights broke. Right? His father was the doc. and he was the doctor of the block. He was sitting on a stoop, staying on, and he said, "Come over here." Right? And here he is bringing the bike with all together. It was like putting a Rolls Royce in demolition derby.
Yeah. And
That was it. But everybody was, there was no.
just for a reference, that's like the Pee Wee Herman bike. That it's got chrome. It has a light bulb in the front. If you hit that paint job, it's gonna crumble it. It's a beautiful piece of
Well,
work.
this was a 28-inch.
Yeah.
Which is big bike. But there's more stories throughout Hoboken. Everybody grew up has a story. But it wasn't.
There was more social activity with Pumas.
Yeah, there was no bullying. There was no, well, though you got a like if you didn't wash or something, you'd be called earthworm, something like that.
What about all the terms? Like I always hear when they say, "You're cute, you're comp, you're cute, smarten up." That's
Smarten up.
Smarten up is like
somebody talked to you and had some used some high class words.
Yeah.
And the response would be, "Well, we got big words too, We'll hit you with delicatessen in a restaurant."
Well, what?
And if you weren't all there, they said, "Look, he's a Morse code,"
Yeah. What about a comp? A comp is a word.
Compy come out, that was like a brother, compy,
Yeah.
compy.
Like companion short.
Yeah.
See the Italian phrases.
The food end is not like today. We ate, and we burnt it off.
Yeah, like gods.
That was like, if that's why I'm like this today, because I'm eating, but I'm not burning it off. That's.
You basically got to eat them.
Everybody, there was a butcher on every block. There was a bar on every. My block, there was 3 bars and a liquor store. That was on the corner. So everybody.
Which block is that?
It's just this is one of the shortest blocks in Hoboken,
8th and
too.
Garden.
8th
8th and Garden. There was Garden Wine and Liquor. There was Lepetich, and there was Barill's. Barill's. Mr. Raps is in. Mr. Rapp is where Garden Liquor was.
Okay.
Okay, and then of course was a tailor shop, but before that was a bar.
Was my apartment a candy shop that I live in now?
No, your place was no. It was.
Was it a disaster area?
That was a flat of Puerto Ricans. That was they, like I'm saying, that whole building.
Dylan said when he went in, there was just burnt cigarette butts put out. Like they were.
We
wouldn't even.
That
go
was,
down
you got to
that block.
remember, they weren't bad people. They were just starting out.
Yeah.
Tootsie Roll was the main. Tootsie Roll was where it's all leveled now, down by I think Rockefeller's building there.
Oh yeah, up in
15th Street. That whole block was Tootsie Roll.
Wow. 15th Street.
That whole block from 15th to where they put the new field,
Yeah.
right
And
there.
they just made Tootsie
They
Rolls.
made Tootsie Rolls, and that brought a lot of Puerto Ricans into the Hoboken.
Puerto Ricans love Tootsie Rolls.
Okay, but they
I got the pass. I can say
true?
that stuff. Yeah, no,
Well,
I don't
you
know
know.
about that. But that's true. Tootsie
they
Rolls.
moved to Chicago
Well, think
when Tootsie Roll moved to Chicago. The majority moved to
Because
Chicago.
I remember when
But the
Maxwell's
second
closed.
generation, the first generation, remember they were. It's like everything else. You're going to get the higher nationality picking on the lower nationality until they make the top. You have McFeely. He was the mayor of Hoboken. He was the Irish. All the Irish had jobs, and everything when they run to control the politics and all. And then DeSapio upset him and took over. Then the Italians took over.
Yeah.
Okay? What happened after the Italians held the whole thing, how the Puerto Ricans got left out of Hoboken, I'll never know. So you had a gap.
Well, this is.
Where, in other words,
Wait, let me.
they didn't do what they were supposed to.
Gangs of New York. You have to watch Gangs of New York though, so that you realize this is true. Like the everybody looks to assimilate. Like they come together as a community and then protect each other. But in today's day and age, it's spread out completely. You know what I mean? You'll have no national, like people aren't getting together in the schools. Like, oh, you're Italian, I'm Italian. It's
Yeah,
completely
no. I'm just talking a basic nationality trend of how it went.
Mm-hmm.
So after the Italians, the majority in the town was the Puerto Ricans. They were next for mayor. The Italians all stood together. The Irish
The
stood together.
Israelites.
There was a break in there. If they would have stood together, they would have had a Puerto Rican mayor. But they broke up the city.
Daddy.
So that's the way it is
I'm
now.
gonna have to.
I don't
I'm gonna
know.
Have to stop
and,
it.
and that's the way it's going to
You
be.
can't. It's not even.
It's going to be that way for a while. It's
Daddy. No,
going to be that way for a while.
I don't even think you're right. Hold on. First off, just to be, so I don't think there's anybody on the city council that's even Jewish.
Yeah, this the other is.
No, there's not. But anyway, trust me, this will get a
Your
be
mayor's
more parking
Jewish.
tickets.
Your mayor's Jewish.
She's
That's
not
the
Jewish.
key. The mayor's Jewish.
She's Jewish.
Yeah,
I don't see her at temple.
she's Jewish. Believe me.
I'll ask her.
Stacey, well,
All right.
we'll get our fact checkers on it.
It doesn't matter. No, listen. The Puerto Ricans didn't have the back to old time Hoboken, guys. Listen, we can't get into that. You're gonna get shut down like this. Even though this is
I'm
gold.
still asking Alex if Puerto Ricans really love Tootsie Rolls.
They don't love Tootsie Rolls, but you had Maxwell. Remember when Maxwell House closed? Stephen DeMauro's father worked at Maxwell's. Okay,
My mother works at
this
Maxwell
this
House.
was one of the last big factory jobs left. So they said, listen, you could either stay here. We're going to give you a severance, and you could try to make it. This is like I don't even know how many people are laid off. Like 5,000 people in Hoboken are laid off in a day. It's not a good situation. Or they say you can come down to Florida. What is it? Wasn't Jacksonville. In retrospect, he definitely made the wrong decision. He should have went to Florida, stayed in Hoboken, because it might have been like Delray Beach, something that turned out to be beautiful. So probably when Tootsie Roll closed, they said to the workers, you can come to Chicago or we'll give you some type of severance. And a lot of them went to Chicago. I'm not really sure. I know we had, basically we were building ships for the military. So they opened up factories. And then after the war's end, we supplied New York City with Tootsie Rolls, baking powder, right? Belts.
It was a major factory, Tootsie Roll. Tootsie Roll was
What
a
about
major
Arm &
factory.
Hammer? What about Newman Leather Building?
Yes. You had also Wonder Bread. You also had Hostess. You had almost 500 factories in Hoboken. Bethlehem Steel. You know, that was, the ships would come in, all that area was alive. It's all, remember now, Hoboken had over 400 bars for a mile square. 400 bars. You've got no idea.
What?
You know, and each bar, when you hit River Street, each bar had a dog, so the dogs would fight. See, that's how they.
I like that
established.
idea.
So
Just how you
there
establish
was
your bar's
one bar
dominance.
after the other, and if the guy got kicked out of one, he said, "I don't care, I got another place to go." So he didn't really get thrown out because they wanted your money. But you got to remember, you had dock workers, and the bars in Hoboken were open 6 in the morning. On the way to work, they called them balls and beers. Okay, if you came up 8th Street, you had on Willow, 8th and Willow, you had Swannies. Then you had Clarky's was all the way down by Levelers.
Clarky's.
Clarky's come up, there was
Swannies. These are bars?
yeah.
These are like morning time bars, get a beer.
And then you went up to Lepetich or Barill's. They were all open 6 in the morning.
Brills?
The 8th Street is still there.
They open up at 6 in the morning?
6 in the
a.m.?
morning, because the dock workers,
Wow.
on the way to work,
Wow.
they would take a ball and a shot and a beer. That was called a Boilermaker. So
Wait,
by the
what's a
time
ball,
they
a
hit the
shot, and a
pier,
beer?
they were ready. Okay?
And they're doing dangerous things on the pier. Drunk.
It didn't matter. That was their setup.
Yeah.
Okay? You had the trucks coming, and the one cop would bring them in, and they would have to go in and
What kind of cars?
You
Like
know.
those old big steel.
well, the cars, the cars were, there wasn't many cars around there. You know, it was walking, and they walked from one to the other. So,
I think.
and they were hard-working people. Now, I want to make one thing plain here. I support
Just
them
anytime.
in Russia, where they have the poor ones from Germany. They still must have been kids, but they're elderly now, and send them some money over there to get at least some food. They were in concentration
What,
camps.
Jewish people went to Russia too?
Well, no, these were
That would've been
children.
really
These were
bad.
when the Americans came and the Russians, they saved them. They were ready to be killed, but now they're elderly and they have nothing really. And it's not, when you go to Russia, a program like over here where they can give you the food, because we can produce food. Over there they can't produce like we do. Okay, so
Got that, Putin? Because Putin's making moves out there, and we talked about that.
Putin, he's a chess player and he's playing against an amateur. So there's no contest as far as I'm concerned.
Really?
You know, so he knows that, and the whole world knows it now. So it's getting, you know, just the young generation wanted him, and they've got him in. And
Yeah, that's what
now
they
you gotta
say,
deal
though.
with it.
Listen, it wasn't really. We need these. I don't think we're. You know, I was.
They
spending
got
all
to vote.
week
He
on
got the
that.
vote. He's got the
Yeah.
vote.
Well, what am I going
Was
to do?
the vote. Was young.
McCain, I see as a viable candidate.
Well,
Palin, I don't see
Well,
as a viable
what
candidate.
no, but you got what you got.
Yeah, but it would have
Okay,
been.
so you got to say to yourself, wait a minute, is my thinking like his thinking? Because I gave him my vote? Is this what I'm thinking? No, this is not what I'm thinking. This is not the way I want to be.
but,
This is not the way to handle it.
but
So
what
I
choice?
voted for the wrong guy, but now the guy would have made one hell of a used car salesman. There's no doubt about it.
Because he doesn't make decisions, though.
He makes all the decisions.
The
Don't-
people that supply
He's-
the
Mike,
finance.
All right,
and
I'm not
money.
going to get in politics because that's
Well,
what.
listen,
Let's go to
Daddy.
something funny now.
All right.
Let's go to when you got married. That was my best part. You just had
No,
a
no,
nice,
go back to
nice
funny.
marriage.
That's not
and
funny.
the poor,
Let's-
I had the hokey pokey dancer.
no, let's
The
go
hokey
to
pokey
funny
dancer.
stuff.
He passed on, but it
Hokey
wasn't.
pokey.
It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. That's not the main thing. The main thing was trying to get
I
him.
think he's saying the musicians at the wedding were.
No, the hokey pokey dancer.
They were a little hokey pokey.
You remember the hokey
we
pokey?
took that.
You remember the hokey pokey?
I do. I remember
right,
watching it
well,
in
he-
the Marx Brothers movie.
Passed on, and that wasn't a big thing. Was getting him in the coffin, because when they put his right foot in, he put his left foot out.
That's a good one.
Oh,
Good
wait,
save.
hold on.
Nice. Dylan, good
All
use
right.
of that, by the way. All right, what about,
I'm the king of
so,
the
Daddy, why am I seemingly I seem to be a little bit different than the other brothers? And all of us seem to be different. Is it because I watch so much comedy?
Well, he's got different personalities.
I know, so how did that happen?
That's how when friendships, when you're growing up, different classes, different, Timmy was very, he had to get everything done. He's still that way today. He came home
Timmy
from
was
school
basically,
and
can
he
I
had
say
to
this
get
about
everything
him?
done.
I really love you, Timmy. Timmy was basically the first Siri. Siri is an iPhone app that will tell you anything. So when I used to do homework, I had a lot of trouble spelling. I'm definitely dyslexic. So I wouldn't have to think about a word. I would say, Timmy, how do you spell hypochondriac? And boom, you got that. Timmy, what's this? Boom. And he just does work like a
Because
boss.
he was gifted and he used his gift. So,
got a
you
big
got
brain.
different gifts too.
Yeah.
Vinny has different gifts and Joey has different gifts. Joey was an absorber. He would not speak to what much, but he absorbed everything that was going on. And
I got a
you have
question.
Vinny. Vinny is completely the domineer. He wants to run the whole world.
See, that's the thing. If Vinny ever got pulled to power, he would be Putin would be like, this guy, this guy's too. Kim Jong Il would be under.
Yeah,
He'd be like,
well.
this guy is the next Kim Jong Il. He should shave his head up, go out there. I
No,
mean,
he has-
but
he
he would
has
let
his-
the
he has-
animals. If you were an animal, like
has his
PETA, he
ideas.
should get behind that.
But you all got different. If you go to different family, they all have it. But I got to say one thing: you all stood straight. Okay, you didn't get involved with the drugs, which is you usually lose out of a family of 4. You only lose 1 to drugs, or another 1 to alcohol. So very gifted that none of them got involved. They got into the health, and
Yeah.
that was when Joey wanted a barbell and a thing down and a bench. I said I can't do that.
Daddy's friend put.
I said
who
no,
put-
but I got him the membership at
it was
Supremes.
Powerhouse. Oh,
Supremes.
Yeah, that was before that.
and
That's
he
what-
started
I
at
forgot about
14,
that.
and he went from one place to the other, and he today has the gyms, which she seen from going from one, like I said, he was an absorber. And he's seen all these places, Ferrigno's and Gold's. So he knew basically what's going on. And then, Vinny went into the snakes. And
How could you let him do this, Danny?
he was no. Wait, he didn't go into the snakes only. He went into all exotic stuff. Vinny had the idea where he was going to breed these things. Now he was on the right track because you can't import them anymore. So he figured he was going to breed them. He had these lizards that had the like suction cups that
all
walk on.
geckos all over the
All right?
house.
He had all these different lizards that he knew he couldn't bring in anymore. And I got the call from the state.
So when he's like 8
And
years
I got
old.
the same name, and he says, yes. He says, well, you got all these exotic pets. He says, you owe us so much money. I said, yeah. I said, you got the wrong thing. I
Vinny's the
said,
guy.
Vinny. And then Vinny got on the phone with him, and then by the time he was done with the guy said, just send $10.
Yeah.
And he said, that'll cover everything.
Vinny's the guy that has like a Bengal tiger for 14 years in his apartment.
Black is white,
Just in
white
case.
is black.
14-foot albino pythons having little eggs. Timmy was having nightmares. He's scared of snakes. There's snakes that could literally eat him in the basement. He's scared of snakes. It's so funny.
I found out later on that Joey saved Vinny. Because one of those snakes was going to do a number. And Joey had come over and pulled him off.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. He was like,
Yeah. The snake was going to do a number. And Joey was there and got him off. That was one of those boa constrictors.
Wow.
did you know that Vinny used to have me grab the snakes and
I know.
the Poconos, and then I got
I
bit.
called Mike. I go, what are you doing? They don't listen.
I got bit, and the lifeguard thought I got
Yeah.
bit by the moccasin. That was the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
time I did it. My little hands fit into the holes. And what
So
about
you like W.C. Fields?
W.C. Fields? He
W.C.
still is
Fields.
funny. I still remember when he was tricking the guys with the dollars at, which movie was that? If you haven't seen W.C. Fields movies, you gotta.
Well, he's classic. But 1936.
Which one was
It
that?
was called the International House.
The
It
International
was
House?
George Burns and Gracie. There was a lot of and he came in on a helicopter to this ballroom or whatever, and he landed, and that's when he had his big hat with his big flower.
Yeah, I remember this.
And he got him come down off the 1936, and he walked down off the helicopter, and he said to the guy, "Where am I?" The guy says, "You're in Woo Woo," and he said, "Don't let the flower fool you."
Watch that one. There's even better jokes than that, guys. I'm
But
telling
no,
you.
I'm saying that's 1936. Where's mine? you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. But that wasn't the movie where he ran a circus.
No, he had
Remember the circus?
he had.
He was like Ernest, but funny. Like he would just put him
Oh,
in
that
different
was it. He
scenarios.
went from one state to the other at that time. You couldn't follow from one state to the other. So, his name was Whipsnay in there, and he was selling the tickets for the.
He was just scamming people.
He's at the thing, little cart, with, banging them thing, and the guy says, "I got a telegram from Mr. Whipsnake." He said, "That name is Whipsnay," and he threw the tickets at the guy, and all the people started grabbing the tickets to get in. And that was with the horse, Give Queenie, which was a horse that, the elephant. As you walk by, that's how we do. The elephant would suck up some water and then spray, and that's how we got a shower. Would spray him. And
That was a pretty good movie, pretty good production.
well, he had, some stuff that you wouldn't pick up today. You wouldn't be allowed today.
Definitely not.
Some off, not
Off color.
no.
This is-
On color. Couldn't say that today. Like you walk in and he said, "Okay, who's the head you bangy around here?" So.
Well, it depends on what station. If you watch Chappelle Show, they probably don't do
No,
worse
they-
than that.
No, I mean they want to cut them. Maybe some would, but some won't. I mean, if you got it on a regular DVD, you would see it.
All right. Well, W.C. Fields. What about horror movies? I remember watching horror movies way too young. I mean, I went to see.
All the horror movies I watched, Frankenstein, Well, they made a
Oh,
joke.
Young Frankenstein was
The
great.
new
I don't remember
generation.
that one.
They made it. We used to stay up late. They used to come on
What about
at 10, 12, 11 o'clock at night. But then they made a joke that it made the monsters.
I didn't
you know,
see any of this
and-
live on TV. I watched all cassettes, and one thing we watched was The Evil Dead, which is remember
Grateful
The Evil Dead? No, The Evil Dead's when they all
The
go
Night
to
of
the
the
cabin.
Living Dead?
No, that one I saw. I didn't see it with you. The Evil Dead. They go up to a cabin. There's like they're putting cards. I don't know. All I know is I watched them way too young. I watched Pet Cemetery in the premiere with Ro. Ro probably thought it was about like sweet pets like getting. Meanwhile, we went in 5 minutes into the movie. I was so scared. Definitely shouldn't have been. I don't know. When did it come out? I was born in 19.
Really young. Younger than me.
But you need that.
Probably.
It's good.
You know, you got the different things, and you stay up for them. You know, because you know it, and people, friends will tell you, hey, you know, the Mummy's Ghost is coming on tonight. You know, and you wait up for that. Well, I remember we only had 5 channels.
Yeah.
2, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 11. That was it.
That's when you were young. What about when I was young?
Oh, you know, by that time they started it on.
We had cable at
Yeah,
HBO was a big
Started
deal.
it on. People don't realize going back, you know. And you got, you know, Abbott and Costello had some funny stuff.
89.
So how old was I?
You were like 8, Mike, 7, 8.
Maybe I was too old. I wasn't that old. What about the store, Daddy? No hotel. James from the gym. I talked to Leonard there, like the store. Also, another funny story. I think it was at Uncle Mike's. Not really our uncle, but Forkham calls him Uncle Mike, Danny England's uncle. We went to a gas station one time, and you filled up the tank. This is in the back Hoboken, and you just drive away. And then I'm like, Dad, don't we have to pay for it? And you say, my last name's or middle name's Crime, and Crime doesn't pay. Just drive away.
We used to do that, you know. We used to do that all the time.
Was that Uncle Mike?
That was Uncle Petey used to use that one.
That was hilarious.
You see, you know, he had the car dealership that was down on there, Ram Motors on 15th Street, right across from the car
Wow,
wash.
we had a car dealership?
Yeah, he had the, and his complaint department was Sparky, which was a Doberman Pinscher.
Yeah, we
And
always
there
had
was we had
Dobermans.
him in a room with the light, and the guy come in and, hey, this car that I bought, he says, is worse than the car I brought in. You know, and he said, he says, you see that door? He says, that's the complaint department. So as soon as he opened the door, Sparky come up at him, and you wouldn't see the guy. The guy would left his car. He left everything. He never come back. He just
That's
left everything.
great. That's business.
And you know, everything was all his cars were $5.99. See, when we used to fool around, me and my brother Frank, we said if he worked in Wall Street, they would have called it Petey Street. He had no ambition, but he had a very. So everything was, the cars were all $5.95, and nobody starts the car. So he would sell the car without starting.
What?
Right? And he would just. It was
So you could buy a car for $5.99, but you couldn't start it first.
No, you didn't start. Nobody started the car.
Before the locks.
That was again. He had the
It's
car.
$5.99, but you can't
he had
start it.
He had a car in the showroom and had no floor. And he knew the guy coming in. He says, "You see him? He's got an education. I'm going to show you what kind of education he's got." He sold him that car. All right? And he told the guy, "I guarantee everything in inspection." All right? And they put a piece of plywood or something for the floor. When he took it out, they pushed it out into the street. He took it to the inspection station, and he would come back about an hour later, and he showed him the card. You know, at those times they had the card, they punch it. You know, he says, "I didn't pass one thing."
That's funny.
And naturally said, "Well, there's the complaint department."
That just keeps working, that joke. What? He was in the Korean War, Uncle Pete.
Yeah, he got frostbite up there, and
That's
he
crazy.
had a
Get
as a
frostbite
kid he
in
was on the milk delivering milk, and there was a big accident, and he fell off and could have been gone at that time, cracked his head open. So they, you know, he come back, but he was never right after that, you know.
But he went to.
I had two brothers. I had Dominic was also in Korea.
They both went to the Korean War.
Yeah,
so I
both
didn't
in
know
Korea.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lost war. So
That was not. Well,
But,
I guess in South Korea we did pretty
that
good
makes
for
up
them.
for my
at
sons.
least.
So they put their time in for you guys.
I appreciate it.
Because mine was Vietnam, and I was on my second physical.
You were trying to get in Vietnam so you get your knee fixed.
So, yeah, well, I went when I had the case, and I was gone for my second. I had everything they told me to bring. And I went up there, and I did a deep knee bend. You heard the bone against bone. I had no document. And he said, do another one. And then 3 of them, he said, put your clothes on and get out of here. Meanwhile, I was A, and then I'll fold the one ahead of everybody.
Yeah, you're definitely, that's,
Fort Dix. And everybody started cursing me out because they were all sitting there. And here I come out with the bag and all. They said, where you going? I said, they don't want me. I said, I got to go home. And they all started going, go home.
they couldn't
I
take
wish
me
I regret, but that's the way it is. I regret that because that was the cream of the crop. And after that, America started to go downhill. You had a lot of good people that were killed there. And they came back and they had that orange agent. Some people I know, they didn't even last 3 months. It was like being exterminated. So, and they came back and they died of cancer. Very sad. But, we should never been there. But we ended up there, and the cream of the crop was drafted to go there, and then to fill the vacancy for the jobs and all, they didn't take from a higher caliber, they took from a lower caliber, and that's what you got today. So the lower caliber is running the country. There's no doubt about it. There's lower. They'll team up. They know exactly what to do, and the program is vote for the guy that's going to give us something for nothing. And that's what you got. And I don't know how you could overturn it because the word is out. So, yeah. I won't be around much longer, at the, if I'm still walking around, I might not be here mentally, but, the younger generation and the little ones are the ones that they're going to have to face this. They got a big problem. They got a really.
I know a lot of older people seem to have a bad outlook. I have a good outlook. I feel like we have a lot of. You look at the world. I look at 15-year-olds. They are the ones that are going to be basically how their mindset is. That's how they're going to create this world. So I feel confident.
All right. So yeah,
I feel a lot
not
more
many
confident.
people know what I follow. So it's called Fukushima in Japan.
Julie
Now,
told me to ask you about
Fukushima
this.
in Japan is when you had the earthquake. All right,
No,
that's
we had
back in
tsunami.
2011. Then the
Documented
tsunami hit 5 nuclear power plants. They're all out. Since that time until today, and it's still happening every day, Olympic-sized swimming pool is going into the Pacific Ocean. They're finding starfish are all mushy, sea urchins, the seals are losing their hair. It's a disaster on the West Coast. They have surfers that went in, come out, and they lose their hair.
Well,
It's all highly radioactive.
can I? Because I don't believe that is a good thing at all. It's not.
Well, you can't stop it.
But you got to understand, though, the amount of nuclear weapons the U.S. and Russia set off just for testing. I mean, they're blowing up things. Back in the day, they would tell island people, listen, we're going to move you because we're going to hit the... So the radiation it's out there.
It's not. It's only going to get worse. You got Indian Point right here,
Okay.
and they're giving it one more year before they shut
Daddy,
it down.
all right.
They're
You're
really
making,
stretching
Daddy,
that.
This is supposed to be a Happy Father's Day special. I don't know.
I just brought up I'm talking to the young generation.
Yeah, well,
They're
listen.
the ones that care.
You got to tell the Japanese people. I tell them all the time. What are you guys doing? Build a.
No.
They got to take care of it. I can't.
You
what am I gonna
can't
do?
take what they did is you can't. This is uncontrollable.
Yeah, but I don't want
It's
those
beyond
kids.
a human being to control this. You cannot control it. It's out of control. So you write it every day. You have poisoning of our ocean, and it's coming all the way around. If you look up on YouTube, Fukushima's here. You'll see London. You'll see England. You'll see France. You'll see signs. Australia. Fukushima's here. That means the water is going around. It goes globally, all around. That's your ocean. That's 3/4 of your world. If that becomes polluted, you are, not to mention in Japan is done. That guy is pitching for the Yankees. I could have told you ahead of time before he even signed the contract he was coming to the Yankees. He not only came in on a 747, he took everybody he possibly could with him. The dogs, the pets. Because Japan is.
I love how you tied that Fukushima into the Yankees pitcher.
Well, he's from Japan and he knows what's going on. Those people cannot. They put a muzzle on the whole.
What about the
They
Russians?
put a muzzle on the whole
Chernobyl?
population.
Or was it
Chernobyl, they buried in concrete.
No, but Chernobyl was worse because it went in the air.
Chernobyl, they got to because
I don't know. I don't.
they buried it in concrete.
These kids out there, you got to be. They're gonna get caught up. They're 17. They're gonna start looking at. Listen, go make money online. Get yourself better. Master a craft.
Money is not what it's at.
But they need to do something. This money changes the world.
The Northern Hemisphere is in big trouble.
You can make anything happen.
You're laughing, but the Northern Hemisphere is in big trouble. If you go to the post office, you'll see almost every day a line in there, people getting passports. The smarter ones are moving out to the Southern Hemisphere. They're getting out.
I'll go to Brazil right now. I'll go to Australia. I got no problem with that. Brazil, Mikey in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, I'm saying that's where your population's
pay
going.
attention.
If you look it up on YouTube, and you look up Fukushima, and you're seeing your top scientists. There's the guy with the gray hair, the Japanese guy. You'll see him on the Discovery Channel. You know what he told the relatives from Japan when they asked him, "What should we do?" He said, "Get out of Japan."
Yeah,
that was his advice. Okay. Get out of Japan.
All right, Daddy.
But anyway,
listen.
9 minutes.
I need you to give a message at the end of each podcast. We try to give a message to the younger generation of an uplifting message, right? Maybe it's spiritual. Maybe they can't be concerned. You're a 15-year-old kid in Louisiana. You can't do anything about the Fukushima right now. That's why I was telling them, focus in on their own stuff.
The main thing is to have your spirit, keep your soul in shape, be prepared to die because we're all eventually going to die.
That camera you're talking.
And you prepare yourself for the next world. There's not much you can do. You got global warming. You got a lot of things going on that they cannot prevent. You can't stop. The food is being contaminated each and every day through this pollution.
Daddy,
all right, radiation. Listen, but I'm telling you, this is for
told you to be an uplifting. This is an uplifting segment.
Yeah, but this is for the younger generation. The main thing is to keep your spirit, keep your soul, no matter what comes down.
What does that mean for them?
Right now, I'm telling you, by the year 2017, you're going to have more cancer rates that you're going to on young people. That is going to be so baffling. The best.
Stop, guys.
The best generation, the ones in best shape now, is 60 and older. All right? The reason why, we're on our way out anyway. So we can eat anything.
Listen, guys. Okay.
Enjoy your Father's Day, all your fathers.
Okay, yeah. Go to Bennigan's and use the coupon code Mikey
Andreula. You gotta love and love.
Yeah.
You turn the cheek, take the hit, and turn the cheek. Yeah. Don't carry grudges. Don't do that. Turn the cheek and be friendly, have fun, and enjoy life the best you can. But don't do any bullying. Don't do any of that stuff. Everybody's a human being. Everybody has feelings, and if you hurt them in school, and you put bad feeling for maybe their whole life, and that's why you're getting some problems in the schools.
Daddy used to tell me to beat people up. Remember the 2 times outside of Hudson Catholic, the kid hit me with a snowball. He's Michael. He's like, Mike, kick their asses. I just fought 2 kids.
Had to straighten, he straightened them out. Yeah. He did what he had to do. You can't just take it. You gotta. Once in a while, you gotta. Everybody. That was all Hoboken.
You have to do that.
We would get in a fight, and this is what I'm telling younger get in a fight. Next day we were friends.
We always shook hands.
Next day we wouldn't come around with a gun looking to shoot him or kill him, or a knife. We became friends. Today they can't take a hit. They cannot take a hit.
Did you know
They're
that?
taking it very serious, and don't take life too serious. You never get out of it alive. All right.
Wow. I got a gun pulled on me in 7th grade, Daddy, at grad school. You knew that? I
Oh,
didn't
no,
tell
no.
anybody that.
But
It was by Kirkland's house.
that was. I know people had guns on put on them, but this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with this, and on that bigger scale.
Good thing I
today.
did Krav Maga.
And I'm going to give them the stock. I'm going to give them the stock to get into DDD. That's 3D printing. And
Oh, yeah,
one
yeah.
bad
I'm
thing
gonna get one of those.
is they can make a gun.
Easy.
Okay,
Very
they
easy.
can make a plane. They can make a car. It's crazy. The young generation
It's
can
gonna
have
be
a lot of
great.
fun with this. They're making robots. It's whatever.
Oh,
You're the
yeah.
artist. You're the artist. And I'll back you on a 3D printer
It's
if you want it,
fantastic.
because she's got a good
You're gonna
eye.
back me on it?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it costs like $3,000.
Well, I'll back you because
And
I
the
know
medium.
you've got the mind to do
I
it.
would just make
All right,
the
and you can
stupidest-
make. You know, you
the statues. But
no,
you can
no.
make anything. It's really cool.
It's like an artist. The more they're learning on it, then now China just backed a big portion of that population with 3D printers.
Yeah, there's no.
They're telling them to go out because the one with the mind is the artist. And they're doing everything crazy. I mean,
Talking about the mind, it's my
it's not like I just found it.
middle
I've
name.
been watching this for 3 years.
Yeah,
Okay? I watched it when the stock was at $12.
yeah.
All right? So it's up to 50 now. It was up to almost 90, almost at 100. It'll come back down. But the more inventions, they just come out now with dental. I mean, I can email you this site, but you go on it and you just read on it.
All right. So why don't you recommend a couple sites that you visit so they can research some of this stuff? What
Well,
sites
you got DDD, which is 3D printing.
Okay.
That's the stock. And the bigger one
Why have you been really following?
is
reading?
SSYS.
Okay.
That's the big 3D printer. That's like the size of a building.
I'll write this down.
This can build
A building.
a building like in a third world country. 22 hours would build it with concrete, cut out for the plumbing and electrical. This is crazy. I mean, whatever that designer puts on the computer, that's what it's going to build.
This can build my Mikey biodome. I'm going to build a biodome in Hoboken that's going to have farming, sunlight. It'll be a sand beach.
You know, you got to get the federal government first, because they already put a kibosh on growing stuff and all that stuff in California.
All right. Well, listen, you might have to go on. You and Christy are more in line than I thought. This has been everything, Daddy. Thank you so much. We're going to have you come back. We're talking about doing the special, the Hoboken special. Get some people from around town that know.
I'll help you. I'll
the
get
old
old timers
stories.
here.
I want to maybe bring Cosmo out, get some bakery tips. He used to make the Cosmos.
Where was
He
he?
was on 9th.
I used to call him the Big C.
The,
There was two. There was Carlos and there was Cosmos.
yeah. Hey, you're talking about eclairs coming out 5 in the morning. Perfect.
I know Cosmo
always-
very well.
Amazing.
And he took some of the best recipes. He worked for
Yeah.
Ferraris. He worked for Roma. He worked for the best. And the Barry and Hobo. He took the best recipes. Then he moved on. He was only a kid. But he's got a book of all. But that's for if you're doing a commercial cake or pastry, you got to
If
build
you
it.
need to make
So it's not
100
individual.
eclairs,
Right.
he's got recipe books.
Right.
Yeah, we should actually bring him in. We'll go through them. Daddy, I don't think we could get any more in this hour. It's been fantastic. I think we're going to go through the charts. What are we going to do when I'm like Jimmy Fallon or like Jimmy Kimmel, when I'm that popular and I have 10 million viewers?
What
am
you
I
do
gonna
is
What am I going to do with all the
never
money?
forget, no matter how much money you make, be charitable.
Okay,
There's always people that need help.
of course. Charitable.
Okay, the $15 I sent to Russia for those people, they have nothing. Oh, it's only $15, but it's every month, which gives them a meal or keeps them going for a week or maybe, I don't know.
Sure.
Be charitable, because that's given back to you. If you become greedy, it's going to work against you. Your mind will go and the dollar will take over, and you will go to the store and be worth millions of dollars, and you'll look at a menu and say, that's a lot of money. I'm not going to buy that.
I
mean,
can't
does
wait.
that make
Fast
sense? But that's how the
15
mind
years
goes.
when I'm a
So
millionaire, I'm like,
be
It's
charitable.
a lot of money for a
Help
burrito.
people out. Get a good fix on the organization that you're supporting, and make sure that they're not 80% them and 20% them. It should be the other way around. Okay? and that's how you do it.
All right. Thank you very much. Hopefully everybody enjoys that Father's Day special. This is Michael Andreula Live. Please go to Stitcher, go to iTunes, and subscribe, like, and review us. It seems to be working extremely well. We're number 4 on top movers on Stitchers, which I did nothing to. That is a miracle. It's an absolute miracle. So if you keep on pushing us, I will be charitable with you. I will never look at a menu and say, this is too expensive. I will just be good. I'll buy all the burritos. So, namaste, guys. Have a nice day. I thought I was going fade to black.